Hello there. So I didn't mean for this video to have my face in it, but I recorded the whole process. I did speak over the video, but I forgot to turn on the mic on my iPad, and I'm just gonna explain what I'm doing and how I stylize animals and break down complicated poses. But before we jump into the video, I just want to thank you all for almost hitting 20k on Instagram. I might even hit it when this video is up, but right now I'm a few hundred from it, I think. But I really want to say thank you. It's amazing. I wouldn't have thought to actually get that far, so I'm really grateful. So the first thing I do when I find a reference of an animal that I want to draw and stylize is that I try and find the big shapes in the pose. I use circles, triangles, squares, basic shapes to try and figure out how I can simplify it and also stylize it. So for this dog, I think it's an Italian Greyhound. Don't come at me if I'm wrong. I can't remember completely if that's the right breed, but it's quite skinny and has a lot of forms. So it's gonna be fun to draw. And I'm starting to, I find the big shapes here. So first of all, I find a circle for the head, and I find kind of a triangle shape for the whole back body, with the back end plus the back legs. And when I have the big shapes, I start to break them down a little bit more. So I look at the back legs, and I do kind of long circles to indicate the legs. And I also just try to look at the picture and try and convert what I see. Now this can be a little hard if you're new to art. Looking at a picture and kind of copying it. It takes time, it takes practice, so if you're not quite there yet, just keep going. It comes with practice. I think I also keep in mind when stylizing poses and animals, and this goes for humans too, but in this video I only cover animals, but I look at overlapping shapes. So you can see here that the back legs are overlapping the back and the stomach area, but I still kind of draw out the shape and just draw out the legs on top, because we gotta think in 3D. Even though it's two-dimensional, the drawing is two-dimensional, we gotta keep the 3 dimensions in mind. A big thing in stylization is that you push the shapes and accentuate the features a little bit. You can accentuate it a lot, you can accentuate it just a little bit, but I think I tend to go in the middle. I try to not be bound too much to correct anatomy. You do need to have some realism in the anatomy, but you can tweak it a little bit. You can make the legs just a little bit longer, or the snout a little bit larger or a little bit smaller. In this case, it looks like it has kind of a big snout compared to the rest of the head. So I try to accentuate that a little bit. This dog also has kind of a disturbed expression, and I really like that, so I also try and accentuate that. I always like to give animals eyebrows, even though they might not have eyebrows. I found that the ears on this dog looks a little bit like Dobby the house elf, so I just thought that was a little funny. So the last thing I'm doing on this we need to do is to give him some front legs. We start to do a little line where the legs are touching the ground. That helps me giving the right length and all that. And again, with the simple shapes, I'm just going up in a triangle shape. And again, with the anatomy, I'm not staying too close to the real anatomy because you can see that the legs are actually curving a little bit. You can see the bones a little bit. But for my style, I like to have it a little bit more sharp, a little bit more refined shapes. So I'm really keeping the legs really simple, really just with a few lines and not and they're very straight. I don't curve them too much. A trick that I find is really good. I do that a lot with humans, but it's that on one side of the leg I do it really, really straight, and then the other side I curve it. It's those contrasts between sharp and clean lines compared to the more curved and smooth shapes. You can get a really strong design if you have that contrast. So now moving on to another example. I found this picture of a cute otter. We're gonna go over it a little bit more quickly because it's the same principles, but again I'm looking at what shapes I can find. A tip if you're new and you have a hard time seeing the shapes just from looking at it, you can draw over the picture, but I won't recommend just tracing around it. You won't learn much from that, but try and do those simple shapes on top. So here I'm finding a circle for the head. I'm seeing like the neck area. I draw that out. I see a stomach area, and then the back end, and the legs, and the tail. So yeah, I'm really doing the same thing as the dog. It is okay to change a few things on the pose if you feel like it benefits the design or the layout. Because for the other, I actually decided to curve the tail inwards a little bit more than it is in the picture. In the picture it curves and then goes a little bit straight, pointing a little bit upwards. But I found that if I curve it a little bit more inwards and towards the head, we get this guideline where you kind of start looking at the head of the otter, and your eyes goes around and follows the tail back to the main focus of the character. The main focus of the character is usually the eyes. We as humans tend to look at the eyes first in other people and designs and all that. So having that line, it just makes your eyes flow naturally into the focus point. So yeah, I think that was it. I hope you could get something out of this video. I'm still pretty new at making these long format videos. My focus have been mostly on Instagram. Actually, I think it has only been on Instagram for the last month. I kind of quit TikTok. I just didn't like how TikTok has become. I think it's become like too toxic of a platform, and just I saw more growth on Instagram anyway, so I thought, why not just put all my energy into that? But if you like this kind of content and you're interested in seeing more, let me know. Let me know what you might be struggling with in art, and I will try and cover it. I am also thinking about creating a Patreon at some point, but right now, due to a poll on Instagram, I could see that most people would not like to subscribe to Patreon of mine right now, so I might push that a little bit. But I think starting here on YouTube is a good starting point for that. I might move over to Patreon at some point and do even more in-depth tutorials and videos, exclusive content, all that. But yeah, that's for another time. So yeah, I hope you like this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.